Hello everybody, I'm Jane and today we're looking at written sentences. So if you are working for GCSE and you want to revise how you write accurate sentences or level 2 functional skills, then you might find that you can go through this video quite quickly because this is the basis of structure for sentences, which might also be useful for those of you who are working with English as a second language. Well, first of all, you all know that a sentence must begin with a capital letter and end with a punctuation mark. However, the most important part about your sentence is how you put it together grammatically. So a sentence is a unit, and in that unit you have to place the words in the correct order. So it contains a subject and a verb. And you'll often hear me saying that if your sentence doesn't have a verb, it's not an accurate sentence. But remember, you need to think about your sentence once it is written and ask yourself, have I placed the words in the correct order? And that's what helps it make complete sense. The order of your words is correct. So let's have a look at that in a very simple sentence. So we started with our capital letter and we used the article the, and we're going to talk about somebody or something for our subject because we've written the. So it's going to be the chef. And what is the chef doing? That's really easy to work out. The chef is cooking, and in this sentence the chef cooked, and the full stop at the end of the sentence makes that a very simple and complete sentence. And you will notice that when you've been taught subject, verb, object, that sentences can be complete when they are not in that subject, verb, object structure, because here we have subject and verb. And to make it subject, verb, object, we will probably describe the food that the chef had cooked. I might think about pizza. The chef cooked pizza, because I would quite like that. So make sure you're making complete sentences. Very important. Add the determiner. Now we often call this the article, but the article is a determiner. Determiner is a good word to use because it determines the noun. So for example, I walk dog 3 times day. Yes, you know that's incorrect because it's missing the determiner. What word exactly is missing? The and a. I walk the dog 3 times a day. So the and a are determiners, and they're also referred to by your teachers as articles. That's also correct. If we look at that sentence again, the chef cooked. If we are used to writing subject, verb, object sentences, we would add in another word there. The chef cooked pizza. So the chef is our subject, cooked is the verb, and when we look at chef we have to use the because we don't know the chef's name, the chef. So to determiner the allows the word to be part of the noun phrase. So chef depends on the word the to make sense. That's the reason why you have to place those determiners in your sentence. Subject-verb agreement. We find that many sentences don't have the correct agreement. Now you might be writing for GCSE, but you also need to make sure that you get accurate sentences. You write accurate sentences and you really understand subject-verb agreement so that your sentences are grammatically correct. Jane and Michael have new shoes because there's two people. The van needs petrol because there's one van. He eats a strawberry ice cream because there's one person eating. The fireman wears a helmet because there's one fireman, singular. Firemen wear helmets. What do you notice about those sentences? That when you have a singular subject, then you have an S on the end of the verb, or your verb changes form. So if only Jane had new shoes, it would be Jane has new shoes, or I have new shoes. So the verb will change according to your subject. A little bit easier when you're talking about a single or plural subject and you're just changing the verb need to needs or wear to wears. So making complete sentences, it does depend on how you understand the verb, on how you understand the verb form, and also how you understand singular and plural subject. So, she doesn't eat cheese unless it is sliced. He was late for his appointment, or he was late for an appointment. At dentist yesterday. There's something not quite right about that sentence. Have a look at it, see if you can find out for me. I went to the school yesterday. Yes. Did you work out what was wrong with the sentence? Yes, you're right. It had a determiner missing. Let's have a look at these sentences. His, my, her, they or our son, depending on which pronoun you wish to use, drove the car too fast, spun out of control. That doesn't really make sense to me, so I think there's something missing in that sentence. His, my, her, their or our holiday in France was hot and sunny, so you need to think about which pronoun would you use for that sentence. And William and Harry are the sons of the Prince of Wales. Now there is actually something missing from that sentence, so have a look at it. It might not be a word that's missing. It might be a punctuation mark. So look back over the sentences from the previous group and from this group to see if you can write them accurately, because not every sentence is accurate and they've been written for you to stop the video, look at carefully and decide how to make some changes. So for a sentence to be complete, it should have a subject and a verb. And the subject is who or what the sentence is about. Let's look at the example. Tom loves to eat pasta. So Tom is the subject. So now's an activity when you stop the video and identify the subject of each sentence that I'm about to read to you. So first sentence. Hazel loves to eat pizza. Second sentence. Our children's centre is Ace. Third sentence. I enjoy learning. And your last sentence. My car is very old, so either say aloud to yourself or write down the subject of those sentences. So for a sentence to be complete, it should have a subject and a verb. Have you got that yet? Yes, we do keep repeating it because it's very important information. A verb is a doing or a being word. Let's have a look at the example. Tom is happy. Tom rides his bicycle. I am happy, and you can see the verbs there written in red. So is, rides and am are the verbs. Can you work out the verbs for the following sentences. Michael cooks dinner. Agnes likes beer. Angela loves Roy. Well, there's a bit of a clue there because the subject is in blue and the verb is in red. So if you weren't quite sure and you just guessed because of the colour, go back over the information at the beginning of the video. Subject-verb agreement, very important. In a sentence, the verb must agree with, that means match, its subject. So if English is your first language, you probably chose the right verb to agree with the subject without thinking about it, because you've been practicing this ever since you learnt to speak. But sometimes when you're writing it down, you make errors, and that's because we don't always speak grammatically correctly. So it is very important to not just assume because English is your first language, you'll be able to get all of your written sentences accurate. Let's have a look at some examples. The mechanic works. The mechanics work. So in the first sentence, the subject is the mechanic. There's only one mechanic, so that's singular, a singular subject. The verb works is also called singular, and this is what sometimes confuses a lot of people because they think, oh, it has an S on the end. How can it be singular? The S is not there to suggest that it's plural. That's what you're doing when you're applying the rules of spelling. So for verbs, when you have an S, it's singular. Works goes with the singular subject. Let's have a look at some more examples. If the subject is plural, the verb is singular. The garage walls need painting. So can you see there, it's one garage, but actually we're talking about all of the walls. So that makes that a plural subject. And the verb need is singular. Let's have a look what happens when we change the subject to a single subject. So if the subject is singular, the verb usually has an S. The garage wall, now we're only talking about one wall, needs painting. Look at the difference between those two sentences so that you can think about how you write the subject and verb and how your written sentences have subject-verb agreement. Stuart and Ben have new shoes. He needs petrol. She eats a strawberry ice cream. The fireman wears a helmet. Firemen wear helmets. And that's the end of the written sentences, but I have left you with a chart to think about, and we will look in another video later so that we can see how we will use that. And now take a break. Bye now.